Hello everyone, I'm Nitin Bause, and today we welcome you all again for the next webinar in the series from Rieki from Japan. After the India visit, my colleague Hirotaka Mizutani has been excited for meeting you all again, and his India visit has been really powerful, and he has now understood the businesses and the qualities of we Indians in a much better way. So, without wasting much time, I'm going to hand over to my friend Hirotaka so that he starts today's deep dive into the businesses. To you, Hiro.
Thank you, Nitin. Okay, welcome everyone to our seventh webinar in the Rieki-ng from Japan series. I'm delighted to be here with you today to share insights about one of the most critical aspects of doing businesses in Japan, understanding and navigating Japanese business culture. As you can see from our logo, this collaboration between India and Japan represents the spirit of mutual learning and growth that we are fostering through these sessions. Let me briefly introduce your moderator for today, Nitin Bose, who is not just the CEO and founder of Stradha as a consultant, but also my co-founder in this Rieki-ng initiative. Nitin brings incredible hands-on strategic experience as a workshop facilitator and has been instrumental in connecting Indian businesses with Japanese opportunities. His expertise in guiding organizations through agile evolution makes him the perfect bridge between our two business cultures. Thank you, Nitin. And I am Hirotaka Mizutani, CEO and founder of One Step Beyond. I've had the privilege of working as a small and medium enterprises management consultant, and I hold an MBA from the University of Southampton in the UK. I have been a proud member of BNI Japan since 2017, and I have written 5 books on business topics. But more importantly, for today's discussion, I have spent my entire career helping bridge the gap between Japanese business culture and international companies. I want to start with something very fresh and personal. Until just last Wednesday, from September 1st to 10th, I had incredible opportunity to visit India. What an experience that was. I attended the Semicon India 2025 event in Delhi and visited Ahmedabad, met with numerous business leaders, including, of course, Nitin, experienced vibrant street markets, and, of course, enjoyed some absolutely delicious Indian foods. This recent immersion in Indian business culture has given me fresh perspectives on the constructs and complementary aspects between our two business environments, which I weave into today's discussion. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into 5 critical areas. First, we'll explore Nemawashi, this invisible but absolutely crucial consensus building process that drives Japanese decision making. Then we'll discuss communication styles, particularly how to navigate indirect communication and the power of silence. We'll cover essential business etiquette from the ceremony of a business card exchange to proper meeting follow-ups. We'll examine why decision-making takes longer in Japan, and how you can adapt your approach. Finally, we'll wrap up with practical strategies you can implement immediately for successful business relationship in Japan. Let me be completely honest with you. Foreign companies often struggle significantly when entering the Japanese market. And it's not because their products or services aren't good enough. The challenge lies in navigating Japan's unique business culture. When you don't understand these cultural nuances, it leads to frustration, missed opportunities, and sometimes damaged relationships that take years to repair. Here is a statistic that might surprise you. Only about 12% of Japanese people speak English at any level. This means that language barriers are just the top of the iceberg. The real challenge is cultural comprehension. Let's start with nemawashi. Arguably the most important concept you learn today. The word literally means going around the roots. Imagine the gardener carefully preparing the soil around the tree's roots before transplanting it. In business terms, this is the process of laying groundwork and building support before any formal meeting or decision. This practice has deep historical roots in Japan, commonized during the Meiji Restoration in 19th century into modern business practices. Nemawashi involves informal discussions, one-on-one conversations with stakeholders to gather input and address concerns, and consensus building to ensure everyone is aligned before the moving to formal approval processes. There is a Japanese saying, I want you to remember, if you are surprised in the meeting, someone has failed at Nemawashi. This tells you everything about how fundamental this process is. Here's where many foreign companies make the biggest mistake. They walk into meetings expecting to make decisions on the spot, completely unaware that the real decision making has already happened through Nemawashi. If you walk into a meeting expecting to persuade, negotiate, or to close a deal, you may be unknowingly undermining the entire process. When you push the immediate decisions, your Japanese counterparts may feel persuaded and uncomfortable. This doesn't just delay your business, it can seriously damage the relationship, sometimes irreparably. I've seen this happen countless times, and it's entirely avoidable once you understand the process. So, how do you master Nemawashi? 4 key steps. First, build relationship before anything else. Invest time in developing personal connections before you ever discuss business matters. Trust is an absolute prerequisite for effective Nemawashi. Second, identify all key stakeholders. Map out every decision maker and influencer within the organization. Remember, the most senior person may not be the only important voice. Sometimes the real influencers are people you might not expect. Third, arrange informal discussions. Schedule one-on-one meetings to share ideas, gather feedback, and address concerns before any formal presentations. This is where the real work happens. Harry, be patient. Accept the process takes time. Rushing Nemash can backfire spectacularly and damage relationships that might have taken months to build. Now, let's talk about something that makes many Western business people very uncomfortable: silence. Silence of Japanese people. In Indian and Western business cultures, silence often signals awkwardness or disagreement. In Japan, silence, we call it chinmoku, is a valued communication tool that demonstrates thoughtfulness and respect. When your Japanese counterpart goes silent, they are not being rude or uninterested. They are carefully considering what was said, rushing to feel that silence can actually be perceived as impatience or disrespect. Japanese professionals may also use silence to avoid direct confrontation while still communicating their position. Learning to be comfortable with silence is absolutely essential for effective communication in Japanese business settings. Japanese communication often favors indirect expression to preserve harmony and avoid confrontation. Let me give you some real examples of what this sounds like. When someone says, "We will study your proposal carefully," they might mean, "We have reservations but don't want to reject you directly." If you hear, "This is a bit difficult," don't think it's just a small challenge. This often means, "This is impossible," or "We strongly disagree." And here is a tricky one. I will consider this positively. Often signals bureaucratic depth for a proposal, not approval. Learning to interpret these subtle cues is crucial for understanding your Japanese counterparts' true position. It's not about being dishonest. It's about maintaining relationship while communicating clearly to those who understand the code. Let me introduce you to Ho-Ren-So, a fundamental communication framework in Japanese business. It's actually an acronym. Ho stands for Hokoku, which means report, keeping supervisors informed of progress, issues, and results. Ren is renrak, meaning contract, contact, okay? A regular communication with team members and stakeholders. Ren is contact. So represents sodan, which is consult, seeking advice before making decisions. Understanding and adapting this system can help your business align perfectly with Japanese expectations for information flow. When you follow Horenso, You demonstrate that you understand how Japanese organizations function internally. Now, let's talk about something that seems simple, but is actually quite ceremonial in Japan business card exchange. Business cards, or meishi, are treated with great respect and exchanged following specific protocols. Always present and receive cards with both hands, and face the card towards the recipient. When you receive a card, examine it carefully before placing it respectfully on the table. Never immediately stuff it in your pocket or write on it. Having bilingual business cards in Japanese and English demonstrates respect and preparation. But here is a key. Treat the entire exchange as a formal ceremony rather than a casual interaction. This first impression often sets the tone for your entire business relationship. Punctuality in Japan is non-negotiable. Arrive 5 to 10 minutes early for meetings. Being late is considered extremely disrespectful in Japanese business culture. If you are unavoidably delayed, call ahead to apologize and provide an estimated arrival time. But the meeting doesn't end when you leave the room. Send a thank you email within 24 hours, summarizing the key points and next steps. Your follow-up should include expressions of gratitude and consistent follow-up uh, demonstrates reliability and commitment to the relationship, both qualities that are highly valued in Japanese business culture. Business relationship in Japan often develop during after-hours socializing, drinking, and these occasions are crucial for building trust and understanding. Dinners work particularly well when participants are comfortable with each other, but always consider everyone's dietary preferences and language capabilities. Drinking together can strengthen bonds, but always respect those who doesn't drink. Never pressure anyone. These social gatherings often reveal important information and build the personal connections that make business relationships thrive. Don't underestimate the importance of these informal moments. Conflict resolution in Japan differs significantly from Western approaches, with a strong emphasis on preserving harmony, or wa. Never criticize or contradict someone publicly, handle disagreements in private, one-on-one setting to avoid causing loss of face. Use indirect language by framing concerns as questions or suggestions rather than direct criticism. Say, have you considered? Instead of you should. Sometimes consider using trusted intermediaries when you can help communicate difficult messages when preserving the relationship. This isn't weakness, it's sophisticated relationship management. Even your email communication needs to reflect Japanese business customers. Japanese business emails follow a specific structure with formal greetings, seasonal references, and proper closings. Use appropriate honorifics and formal language, replacing casual phrases with more formal alternatives. Prompt responses are expected even if just acknowledge receipt. Follow up if you don't receive a reply within expected timeframes. Even when writing in English, maintaining formality and proper structure demonstrates respect for Japanese business conforms. Let me share some essential Japanese phrases that can help build rapport. お疲れ様です means thank you for your hard work, and it's perfect for greetings colleagues during or after work. よろしくお願いいたします translates to please treat me favorably and is used when making requests or starting relationships. 失礼いたします means excuse me or entering rooms, leaving meetings, or interrupting. And 申し訳ございません is a formal apology means I am very sorry for mistakes or inconveniences. Using these phrases correctly demonstrates respect for Japanese culture and can help build strong rapport with your Japanese colleagues and partners. Please learn these simple Japanese phrases. Here is something that often frustrates international businesses. Decision-making in Japan typically takes 2 to 3 times longer than in Western markets. This is due to the extensive Nemawashi process, multiple stakeholders being involved in decisions, emphasis on long-term relationships over quick deals, and detailed risk assessment and consensus building. Companies that rush this process often damage relationships and reduce the chances of success. Building in extra time for decision making is absolutely essential when planning your Japanese market entry. Patience here is not just a virtue, it's a business necessity. Understanding Japanese B2B buying behavior is crucial. Sales cycles run 6 to 18 months from initial contacts to closing, compared to 3 to 6 months in the United States. There is a strong emphasis on trust and personal relationships before any serious business discussion begin. Japanese buyers are notably risk-averse, with detailed evaluation processes and extensive due diligence and reference checks. They also strongly prefer vendors with local representation and support. Remote relationships are much harder to establish. Understanding these patterns helps you set realistic expectations and develop appropriate strategies for the Japanese market. Simply translating your materials into Japanese is insufficient. Proper localization considers cultural contexts, preferences, and expectations. Japanese customers expect extremely detailed and precise technical documentation in their native language, much more detailed than you might typically provide in other markets. For marketing materials, consider transcreation rather than simple translation. This means adapting your messaging to Japanese cultural values and preferences while maintaining your brand's core message. Let me explain the difference between Japanese and Western communication preferences. Japanese customers prefer detailed technical information, specifications, and data points that demonstrate product quality and reliability. Western approaches typically focus on emotional appeals, lifestyle benefits, and aspirational messaging about how products make customers feel. Effective transcreation requires understanding these fundamental differences in communication preferences and adapting your message accordingly. Japanese customers have exceptionally high expectations for after-sales service and support. Meeting these expectations is essential for building loyalty and reputation. This means prompt responses to inquiries within 24 hours, detailed troubleshooting, and support documentation. Regular follow-up even when no issues are reported, and personalized attention from dedicated support staff. Companies that excel in after-sales service gain significant competitive advantages in the Japanese market. This isn't just about fixing problems, it's about maintaining relationships. Let me share the four most common mistakes I see international companies make. First, rushing the relationship building process by pushing for quick decisions before establishing trust and understanding. Second, neglecting nemawashi by attempting to make decisions in formal meetings without prior consensus building. Third, direct confrontation by addressing disagreements or problems in public settings, causing loss of face. And fourth, inadequate localization by relying on machine translation or failing to adapt materials to Japanese preferences. Each of these mistakes can seriously damage your prospects in Japan. There are four additional pitfalls to be aware of. First, misinterpreting silence or indirect communication by assuming agreement when Japanese counterparts are being politely non-committal. Second, insufficient after-sales support by failing to meet the high expectations for ongoing service and reinforcing maintenance. Third, ignoring a hierarchy by bypassing proper channels or failing to respect organizational structures. And fourth, underestimating timeline requirements by setting unrealistic expectations for decision making and interpretation processes. Okay. Let me summarize the four keys to success in Japanese business. Build relationship by investing time in developing trust and understanding before focusing on business outcomes. Practice patience by accepting longer timelines and multiple rounds of discussion as part of the process. Adapt your communication by learning to navigate indirect communication and becoming comfortable with silence. And localize properly by investing in high quality translation and cultural adaptation of all materials. These four elements working together will dramatically improve your chances of success in Japan. Before we wrap up, let me share our contact information. You can reach us at this email, riekingfromjapan@gmail.com, and we are active on LinkedIn. Please connect from this QR code. Remember, understanding Japanese business culture isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about unlocking opportunities. When you truly understand and respect these cultural differences, you don't just do business in Japan, you become part of the Japanese business community. That's when real success happens. Thank you for your attention today, and I look forward to your questions and continued collaboration in building stronger India-Japan business relationships. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hiro. Thank you very much for your time. And while we did a good job, I want to give a perk to the Indian businesses who are attending this webinar. So, since you're fresh out of the visit to India, there's a question which has just come up, which is asking that how do you rate the Indians in the scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to adjusting to the Japanese businesses?
Okay. Maybe I experienced and learned a lot during my stay in India this time, and but it was still enough to understand Indian culture from my side. So I want to visit again and again and again to India and want to meet more people and want to visit companies and the factories. Please so contact me and give an opportunity to have meetings in India or welcome to Japan. Please come. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiro. Thank you very much for your message. And I hope that our audiences will take this with a very good spirit, and we will go ahead together. Thanks for your time today, everyone, and we shall meet you in the next webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye.